Greetings of the day, everyone. It's indeed a great honor and privilege to be as one of the keynote speakers of Global Conclave 2024. I would like to place my sincere thanks to Green Thinkers for rendering this opportunity to me, and they have given a platform to share my perspective on social emotional learning. So before I start with my topic, I would like to introduce myself. This is Dr. B. Sridevi, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Savitha Engineering College, Chennai, and I have completed my MPhil in College of Engineering, Anna University, Chennai, and after that I have pursued my Doctorate of Philosophy in Pachaipas College affiliated to Madras University. I have acquired more than 9 years of work experience, and recently I have had this obsession on the topic social emotional learning, and this is actually the need of the hour both for the teachers and as well as for the students. So now let us move on to the topic. Social emotional learning is a strength-based development process that begins at birth and evolves around the entire lifespan. This is the quote that is given by Weisberg during the year 2015. This is actually a process which involves both children and adolescents as well as the adults in order to learn skills which supports their health development as well as their relationships among the family members as well as in the society. Emotional education consists of teaching children to identify, understand, manage their own emotions and feelings. This allows them also to express themselves effectively and also set positive goals and develop empathy, which is necessary in order to recognize and understand the feelings and emotions of others, which is the need of the hour, particularly after pandemic. Emotional education consists of teaching children to identify, understand, and manage their own emotions and feelings. And social emotional learning helps with that. And this improves the academic performance, and this avoids bullying, this reduces the dropout rates and builds the character of the student. So well implemented social emotional learning programs positively has got a very good impact on the students' success in both their school time as well as in their college. Social emotional education, that is SEE, fosters a comprehensive approach to student development that encompasses both social and emotional intelligence in addition to their academic skills. This has given a this has been a very best practice in the education that is implemented in NEP 2020. SEE has introduced most of the best practices in the following ways. So initially, to start with, SEE enhances academic performance. That is, it improves the focus of the student. By lowering the disruptive behaviors and lengthening time spent on the task, emotional regulation supports kids and keeps them to have and makes them to have good attention over their academics. And then the second point is it also increases their engagement. That is, they are emotionally and socially balanced. It helps them to lead an emotionally and as well as a socially balanced life, and they help and social emotional learning helps the students to become more interested in whatever they are doing, whichever subject they are studying. A deeper comprehension as well as a recall of the academic information results from this involvement. And the next important aspect is it promotes a positive school climate. That is, it has an inclusive environment. It helps to foster social and emotional intelligence, and this mainly helps in the development of the environment where all the students are able to feel that are able to. Constructivist theories propose that social interactions and active participations are the best way for kids to learn. Lev, in his theory of zone of proximal development, highlights the importance of social contact in the learning process as youngsters pick up knowledge through supervised interactions with adults who are more experienced. And peer learning and cooperative activities are common components of social emotional educational programs which support their social as well as emotional development. Lev has also discussed how a child at the age of 7 starts to acquire the meaning of his or her affective experiences. Through his words, I quote, "Experiences acquire meaning. An angry child understands that he is angry. And because of this, the child develops new relations to himself that were impossible before the generalization of experiences." And Lev has told that the age of 7 is commonly considered as a crisis period where the child undergoes newly formed emotional experiences and shifts. However, these emotional developments are not at all retained with the child. According to Lev, he says that, I quote, "Neoformations such as self-love and self-evaluation remain, but the symptoms of the crisis like affection, posing, and transitional, that is, emphasis added." From this again, Lev indicates that the temporality of emotions, they have a clear indication with the psychological development of the kid. Moving on to the sixth theory, positive psychology, which is proposed by Martin Seligman and Mendeley. This emphasis on optimal functioning, strengths, as well as their well-being. Positive emotions and relationships are very important components of social emotional education, and through this theory we get to know the PERMA model. So PERMA, P stands for positive emotion, E for engagement, R for relationships, M for meaning, and A for achievement. So this highlights their significance. The goal of programs based on this theory is to increase pupils' generated well-being as well as their optimistic approach and their mindsets. Moving on to the last theory, we see Erickson's and his propounded theory of 8 stages of development. And the first stage is the trust versus mistrust, and this happens in the age of infancy. So when a child develops a belief that the environment can be accounted to meet his physical as well as psychological and social needs, the child is satisfied. The second stage is that autonomy versus shame and doubt. So this happens during the toddlerhood. Child learns that he or she can control and develop a sense of free will and corresponding sense of regret and sorrow for inappropriate use of self-control. The third stage is that initiative versus guilt. So this happens in the early childhood. Child learns to begin action, to explore, to imagine, as well as have the feeling of remorse even for his or her actions. The fourth stage is that accomplishment or industry versus inferiority. So this happens during the middle childhood or elementary. So here, child learns to do things well as correctly as well as with full of mistakes in comparison to a standard and comparing himself or herself with others. The fifth stage is that identity versus role confusion. So this happens during the adolescence age. So here the adolescent develops a sense of self in a relationship with others and also has his or her own internal thoughts and desires. Later, in the future stage, a social identity is focused mainly on this particular individual when he is alone or when he is with a group. And from this stage onwards, his ability, his goal, and his personality is built. Moving on to the next stage is intimacy versus isolation. So this happens during the young adult. So this is the time period when an individual develops an ability to give and receive love, and this is the stage where an individual needs to have a long-term communion as well as a commitment to a relationship. The seventh stage is generativity versus stagnation. So this happens in the middle adulthood. So here an individual develops interest in guiding the development of the next generation. The last stage is ego integrity versus despair. So this happens in the older adulthood. So here an individual develops a sense of acceptance of life that he or she had lived and the importance of the people and the relationships that individual had developed over the lifespan. So thus I would like to conclude my talk by saying that schools and colleges may build environments where kids thrive intellectually and develop into a well-rounded, emotionally intelligent adults by incorporating social emotional education in their educational systems. At the end, all this encompassing approach to education produces a more helpful and fruitful learning environment for teachers, as well as a successful as well as a satisfying learning experience for the learners, thus making them as a better citizen for future India. Thank you so much.